You know what I realized the other day? The brain is like it's like a crazy good organ in the brain, right? I mean, let's step back and think about everything that the brain does for us. When it's literally everything. Obviously you've got your things, well, you gotta breathe, you remind you to breathe, that kind of thing, or gotta remind you to eat, that kind of thing. But it's kind of the more outlandish things that you don't even think about, right? Because and it really just makes you hard to fathom how big and like complex the brain is, because you get all like the simple functions, but what about like in the middle of the night when you are trying to go to sleep, right? Like you lay in bed and you're trying to go to sleep and you remember something super cringe that you did like 100 years ago or something when you were back in like elementary school, and you remember the time that you took a shit because you were 5 years old and you didn't know any better because you were sick. What about then? Like, how does the brain even store that type of information? Like, that happened so long ago, and I was only 5. How does it How does it store that information? And why does it pick this very night, so many years later, when I'm trying to sleep, to remind me about it? It's just a very, very crazy, unfathomable thing. Or same thing if you're like in the shower, right? And you come up with this like great $1 million invention. You're like, get me on Shark Tank right now. The Dallas Mavericks owner was the Dallas Mavericks owner. Is going to invest in this idea, guaranteed. And then you step out of the shower and you immediately forget everything that you remembered in the shower. That's another thing. The brain can just do. It can do some of the craziest, like smart, like incomprehensible things. We can also do some of the dumbest things in the world. Have you ever just been walking around like this, like walking in your house or like walking in somebody like an office or something, and you come, oh yeah, I got to go into this room to do this thing, right? And you go, and then you go into the room. You walk into the room, and you have no idea why you're there. Like, what the fuck, brain? So you could store information about my bowel movements over 20 years ago, but you can't remember why I just walked into this room that I asked for like 2 minutes ago? The fuck? What the fuck? There's just like so many parts of this like computual motivations on a brain. It's truly bizarre. Truly bizarre. I mean, there's such grand storage facts. Have you ever seen that episode of SpongeBob where it's like a bunch of little SpongeBobs in his brain that are trying to figure out what his name is because he just wiped his memory or something like that? That's what I imagine the brain is, but it's just like, but it's more like computer esque. It's just like a giant computer with like tons of ROM and storage, and it's just has everything you would ever like, everything that you've remembered, every experience, everything, kind of like the brain in Inside Out, right? With the emotions, but not so emotions face focused. It's just like that. That's what I kind of think about, like with the brain, right? It's that. So why can't this supercomputer that is my brain remember this answer to a test that I memorized? Literally studied it like for 2 weeks in a row. Why can't it remember that? But it can remember. It can remember the time I ran into a fire extinguisher at Target when I was like 4 years old. And then it pulls up like the most cringe memories too. That's why I think sometimes our brains are get hacked. Okay. I think there's like, you ever heard of Sandman? Not Enter Sandman. Hey, not that one. The the one, sand and the sand on your face. Never seen this Sandman, but sure he's a nice old fellow for me to talk to. Maybe we'll get a business partnership going on. But anyway, think about that, right? Like, apparently, like, the Tooth Fairy's supposed to come and put your tooth under your pillow and then take money and whatever. And then, or like the Easter Bunny, right? What if they're like secret agents that like hack into your brain at night and then they throw together like these memories and stuff like, ooh, this looks like a cringe one to try and keep them awake. Let's send that one out. And then you can't sleep. I wish there was just a way to like unplug it, you know? Or like a sleep mode or something so that I could sleep. You know, you just kind of wish that sometimes. Then maybe we wouldn't be here having this conversation. Or are we? Anyways, the brain's a weird organ. Weird organism. We need to survive. And I forgot what I was going to say.